The battered group of invaders, Krieg, Conquest, Vegeta, and Nappa, returned to a Viltrumite warship orbiting in deep space. Their bodies, broken and bruised from the clash on Earth, were quickly loaded into advanced healing chambers. Hours passed as the regenerative systems worked to restore them, repairing bones, tissue, and Conquest gained new cybernetic enhancements from the alien engineers. When they emerged, fully restored, they knew a reckoning awaited them. At the ship's command center, they faced Thrag, the supreme ruler of the Viltrumite Empire and the most powerful among their kind. His imposing presence was suffocating, his disappointment radiating like a storm ready to erupt. Thrag's fury was palpable, his voice a thunderous echo in the vast chamber as he berated the group for their failure. Thrag growled, his piercing gaze shifting from one to the other. You mean to tell me that you were bested by a hybrid, our hybrid, and a group of insignificant earthlings? How pathetic. Krieg tries to explain himself, but he was quickly cut off. He says that they should use the hybrid's power to bring Frieza to his knees and claim his empire for themselves. Vegeta, his pride barely contained, stepped forward. And what makes you think that Frieza isn't already aware of what happened on Earth? The scouter transmissions were active during the fight. He knows. If Frieza is headed to Earth, we need to join back with his forces, at least for now. Thrag's anger simmered, but even he could not deny the truth in Vegeta's words. After a tense pause, he nodded curtly. Very well, we will bide our time, but make no mistake, Vegeta, failure is not an option. The next time we face Kakarot, or Frieza, it will be on our terms. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Frieza himself sat within the command center of his massive flagship. He was already making preparations for his journey to Earth. The reports of a Saiyan Viltrumite hybrid intrigued him. A creature of such powerful power could easily become an unparalleled weapon under his control or a dire threat to his rule. As his fleet mobilized, Frieza's ambitions became clear. This was not merely a mission of conquest, but one of eradication. Earth, its defenders, and its hybrid champion would either kneel or perish. Within the Viltrumite warship, the atmosphere grew tense as a new presence made her arrival. Anissa, a seasoned warrior who had spent years executing solo missions across the galaxy, had returned. Stepping into the training chamber, she was met with the sight of Vegeta and Nappa in the midst of their routines. The same prince, ever prideful, couldn't resist his nature. He eyed her rival with disdain, throwing a dismissive remark her way. Anissa was not fazed. She met his arrogance with a steely glare. Words were unnecessary. The challenge was evident, and the seasoned Viltrumite warrior issued it without hesitation. Vegeta, his pride inflamed, accepted a sparring match with his usual bravado, determined to prove himself superior. The clash that followed was swift and decisive. Vegeta's confidence crumbled under the brutal precision of Anissa's combat prowess. The Viltrumite overwhelmed him with ease, demonstrating the vast gap in their skill and experience. Each blow she landed served as a reminder of her years of unrelenting conquest, leaving Vegeta humiliated and subdued before his comrades. When the match ended, Anissa strode out the chamber unbothered, leaving Vegeta to stew in the bitter sting of defeat. Her next destination was the command center, where she met with Thrag. The Grand Regent, ever composed and calculated, greeted her return with respect. He wasted no time briefing her on the events she had missed. Anissa listened intently as he recounted their encounter on Earth with Kakarot, the same Viltrumite hybrid whose power had shaken even the most seasoned of their ranks. Thrag explained their broader plans, a rebellion against Frieza and the potential to leverage Kakarot's strength against the tyrant. Anissa pledged her support to the cause without hesitation. Unbeknownst to everyone, Kakarot was Anissa's son. The knowledge of her offspring intrigued her. She was eager to gauge just how powerful the hybrid had become since his conception. Meanwhile, on Earth, Goku's rigorous training pushed him to new heights. Gohan, under his father's guidance and Piccolo's tutelage, was also rapidly growing in strength alongside the rest of the Z-Fighters. Each day brought them closer to the inevitable confrontation they had been preparing for. Months passed, and the skies above had darkened with the approach of an armada. Dozens of ships broke through this atmosphere, their ominous presence casting shadows over the planet. Among the fleet was the Viltrumite warship, housing the remnants of their race. For them, this confrontation was more than a mission. It was a gamble for survival. United by a singular purpose, they prepared for what might be their final battle, a rebellion against the universal tyrant, Frieza. The Z-Fighters, sensing the arrival of immense power levels, rushed to the site where the ships descended. They watched as their hatches opened, releasing legions of Frieza's soldiers onto the battlefield. But to everyone's shock, the Viltrumites emerged from their vessel and launched an all-out assault, not on the Earthlings, but on Frieza's forces. The ensuing battle was carnage. Frieza's soldiers, though numerous, were utterly outclassed by the ruthless might of the Viltrumites. Vegeta and Thrag led the charge, tearing through the ranks with terrifying efficiency. Piccolo, observing the chaos, recognized the familiar faces of their enemies, but was baffled by their actions. Gohan, under Piccolo's watchful eye, joined the fray, using the battle as an opportunity to test his burgeoning strength. Though initially hesitant, he quickly adapted, felling waves of soldiers with a resolve that belied his youth. It was a grueling but invaluable experience for a young warrior, sharpening his instincts in the fires of combat. Goku, however, remained detached from the fray, his senses locked onto the presence unlike any other. Emanating from one of the larger ships, it was cold, commanding, and brimming with malice. Frieza had arrived. The tyrant's anger was palpable, even within the vessel. The Viltrumites, once presumed under to be his dominion, had defied him in the most public and humiliating way imaginable. As the battlefield became a sea of chaos, Goku's gaze never wavered from the ship. He could feel it. This was the moment everything had been building toward. Frieza was here, and the stakes had never been higher. Zarbon, Dodoria, and the infamous Ginyu Force fell swiftly, their efforts barely a blip against the overwhelming opposition. The battlefield was a graveyard of Frieza's elite, and the Emperor had seen enough. His patience, already thin, snapped completely. If his minions could not handle the rebellion, he would end it himself. Frieza emerged from the ship, his aura radiating cold fury. Without hesitation, he transformed directly into his final form, his body shifting into his sleek, menacing visage that symbolized his ultimate power. The ground trembled beneath the weight of his energy as his presence demanded the attention of everyone on the battlefield. The Viltrumites and the Z-Fighters turned toward Frieza in unison, their instincts recognizing the apex predator before them. The air grew suffocating, heavy with tension as the Emperor's red eyes swept across the battlefield. His gaze lingered briefly on the Viltrumites, analyzing their imposing forms. Thousands of years of combat experience coursed through their veins, and Frieza knew they were not an enemy to underestimate. But it was Goku who commanded his attention. Standing firm amidst the carnage, his aura flared in defiance. The hybrid Saiyan radiated a confidence that was almost insulting. Goku's blood burned with excitement as he shifted into a battle stance, his body instinctively preparing for the clash of titans that was about to unfold. Frieza, however, felt no need for theatrics. He would not humor the hybrid's bravado. He took in the scene with a cold calculation. The Viltrumites were a significant threat, their collective strength and experience posing a danger even to him. Yet, it was Goku's potential that intrigued him and infuriated him the most. Frieza's power radiated across the battlefield like a tidal wave, his energy suffocating as he stood against an army of Viltrumites and Z-Fighters. It was a clash of two unstoppable forces, the galaxy's most feared tyrant and the combined might of warriors who had trained and fought for this very moment. The battle began with a deafening roar. Dozens of Viltrumites launched at Frieza, their white uniforms streaking through the air as they converged on him with terrifying speed. Frieza smirked, raising a single hand to release a barrage of death beams. The beams tore through the air, narrowly missing some while others struck true, piercing through lesser Viltrumites who fell to the ground lifeless. But the elite were relentless. Thrag led the charge, his fists colliding with Frieza in a brutal exchange of blows. Each punch shook the battlefield, the ground fracturing under the weight of the ferocity. Conquest flanked Frieza from the left, delivering a devastating strike to the side, while Nissa came from above, slamming a powerful kick into his back. Frieza grunted in the pain, but retaliated with a wave of ki, blasting them away momentarily. The Z-Fighters joined the fray, adding their energy to the chaos. Goku activated Kaioken, red energy flaring around him as he pushed his body to his limits. At times 10, he was a blur, delivering a flurry of punches and kicks that forced Frieza to block. When Goku pushed the Kaioken further to times 40, the tide of the battle shifted. Frieza, though confident, found himself overwhelmed by Goku's sheer speed and strength. Vegeta and Nappa, now fighting alongside their former enemies, unleashed powerful ki blasts, targeting Frieza's defenses. Piccolo and Gohan worked in tandem, their combined attacks keeping Frieza's attention divided. Even Krillin, Tien, and Roshi contributed, striking when Frieza's focus wavered, their coordinated efforts keeping him from mounting a sustained counterattack. The Viltrumites were merciless in their assault. Nolan and Lucan fought with surgical precision, their years of experience shining as they exploited any opening in Frieza's defenses. Thula's speed was unmatched, her movements almost imperceptible as she struck at the vulnerable points. Despite their combined might, Frieza endured, his resilience and raw power keeping him in the fight. Realizing he was being pushed back, Frieza snarled and ascended into the sky. His aura erupted, signaling his transformation into his full power form. The change was immediate, his muscles bulged, and his energy skyrocketed. He sneered down at his opponents, his confidence returning. With a flick of his wrist, he unleashed a massive energy wave that tore through the battlefield, forcing everyone to scatter. Goku, now at Kaioken times 40, refused to back down. His aura burned like a star as he launched himself at Frieza. The two clashed in mid-air, their fists meeting with enough force to create shockwaves that rippled across the planet. Goku's strikes were relentless, each one fueled by his determination to protect those he cared for. Frieza continued to feel the sting of desperation. The Viltrumites rejoined the battle in the air, their teamwork proving devastating. Thrag caught Frieza in a powerful hold, while Conquest and Anissa struck him repeatedly, their attacks tearing through his defenses. Krieg delivered a bone-shattering blow to Frieza's side, sending him careening to the ground. But Frieza wasn't finished. In a final act of desperation, he charged a beam of energy and fired it downward, piercing straight to the Earth's core. The ground trembled violently, and the planet's stability began to crumble. Frieza laughed maniacally, reveling in the chaos he had unleashed. Goku, realizing the dire situation, delivered a devastating punch that sent Frieza crashing to the ground. The hybrid quickly assessed the situation and alerted the others to the planet's imminent destruction. Nolan, thinking quickly, ordered everyone to board the Viltrumite warship. As the fighters retreated, Frieza attempted to destroy the ship with a ki blast. Goku intercepted him, grabbing his arm mid-attack and snapping it with a sickening crack. Frieza howled in pain, his arrogance replaced with fear. The Viltrumites and the Z-Fighters escaped into the vacuum of space, their warship speeding away from the collapsing planet. Goku and Frieza were left alone amidst the chaos. Goku's heart sank as the Earth imploded, its destruction sending shockwaves to the void. The loss of so many lives fueled his rage. Out of the debris, Goku emerged, his body engulfed in a golden aura. His hair stood upright, glowing a brilliant gold, and his teal eyes locked onto Frieza with a cold intensity. The transformation was complete. Goku had become a Super Saiyan. Frieza's confidence evaporated as Goku descended upon him. The battle that followed was not a contest, but a brutal punishment. Goku's strikes were unrelenting, his power now far beyond Frieza's. Each blow sent the tyrant reeling, his once imposing presence reduced to a desperate, cowering figure. In the end, Goku delivered a final devastating attack, obliterating Frieza and ending the reign of terror once and for all. Floating amidst the remains of Earth, Goku felt a deep sorrow. He had won the battle, but the cost was immeasurable. All of a sudden, King Kai's voice echoed in his mind, offering a glimmer of hope. There was a planet, Namek, home of the Dragon Balls. With them, Goku could restore what had been lost. Resolute, he turned toward the Viltrumite warship, ready to begin the next chapter of his journey.